back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, which is going to be a two-part episode, we're going to talk about the Biggest Loser documentary and the Biggest Loser in general. But before we get into that, what's new? What is the haps?
What is new? I've been doing a lot of comedy lately. Coming up on a big September. I've been talking about September for the last 6 months. I'm so excited. Heading to Campbellton mid-month for the Awesome Festival. To say I'm excited would be an understatement, and the closer it gets, the more palpable the excitement gets. I'm booked on a bunch of shows. I get to stay there in a hotel for 4 nights. I'm going to be around other comics, focusing on comedy for almost a full week. And crazy. I have tentative plans after our Saturday show, after our business is done on Saturday, to do Jaeger bombs with James Mullinger. He said we're going to party like it's March 11th.
Oh, good.
Which is our respective birthday. and it's going to be a time. And I am so excited to be a part of something like this. I'm so thankful for Nathan Dimitrov for booking me on it. And I just can't believe it's happening. So in advance of that, I am doing so many shows.
Getting all that material right.
Yeah. I have shows next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Monday. Thursday. Well, actually, I haven't been booked on this. Don't even know if it's really happening. But I imagine there's no reason I won't be booked unless it doesn't happen. At the Richie's Tap Room show on Thursday. Oh. The Fusion East Tap Room on Friday, and the Wasted Day with No Jokes Barred, host John Ford, longest running amateur open mic comedy show in New Brunswick, on Saturday at Wasted Day. And then Monday, I'm going to Rustico in Fredericton. And yeah, and then...
That's insane. So like the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and then the 8th.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Are you doing any actual, are you doing your own job, or are you just like, I'm taking vacation and
Well, no, I am actually doing my own job, and that's in full force right now too. My boss is out for a little while, and so that's also very busy. And yeah, so I'm actually just going to be like a hamster on a wheel for the next month.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. What about you? What's new and exciting?
I am practicing swimming. I've decided I am going to go back and try to get my lifeguard cert.
Somebody's got to fill in those gaps in the schedule.
This is true. So I'm trying to get my lifeguard cert. It probably won't be till like November or December before I actually am ready for it.
Okay.
But
so I shouldn't go drown tomorrow?
No, should not go drown tomorrow. Sweet. Please. But yeah, I'm getting ready for that. And then also learning about pool chemistry. I'm also gonna have my commercial pool operator's license. I'm working on getting that as well.
The only chemistry I know about in a pool has nothing to do with the pool.
Well then. But other than that, yeah, just busy with the new job, the new gig. Yeah. Doing that thing.
That's awesome. I actually I forgot to mention, coming off the heels of a great show in Hampton last week on Thursday night, I was with Scove and Tay Productions, and the headliner is John Scove Nielsen. And I opened up the show and Taylor Lakeport was the host, and I opened up the show, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
About 75% of the audience was there to see me. And so it was pretty electric.
Nice. That was at Hampton Brewing, right?
It was at Hampton Brewing, yeah.
You like Hampton Brewing?
It's a great venue. What a lovely group of people working there. With Laura, who we know from Big Tide. She's amazing, and it was great to finally perform there, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, and we lost a venue this past week, I saw.
Yeah, that is actually horrific news. Punchlines has done such amazing Punchlines, and then Chuckles before it are so instrumental in the comedy scene in St. John, and beginning with Shane Ogden and then Julian Dale Tower have done so much for this local comedy scene. I'm actually going to the final show on Tuesday. And that was a real gut punch, devastating kind of news.
Yeah, that does suck. And they were running Punchline and the Club 506 at the same
That's
spot,
not them.
Right?
Well, it's not the building owner runs 506.
And they just ran the
they
punchline
just
side of it.
did the punchline stuff. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so sad news but comedy is still alive and well in the port city, and makes it even more important to watch out for your local comedians posting about their local shows.
That's true. We should probably have a new local venue or something.
Hopefully, yeah. I don't know anything. I don't know how to do. I'm not a business person.
Well, neither am I. Clearly,
we've made $0 on this podcast.
Clearly, but yeah, no, that is sad news. But yeah, still lots of comedy happening, lots of shows happening around the city, which is always great.
And always great to. Oh, the other thing too is Comic Sutra released their fall lineup schedule.
Oh, did they?
And I'm on a few dates, middling for some great folks on that. I think I'm middling for Michelle and Petite and Brian Giles, and then I'm part of their Christmas show. Ooh. And so it's so nice to see.
That's the North Side Fredericton one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All New Brunswick comedy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is cool. Someday you'll see a show.
Someday, maybe never. We'll see.
We'll see.
Someday it'll be like recording a Netflix special, and maybe I'll show up then.
Oh, you won't be invited to that. If you don't see a show of mine before I record a Netflix special, you're not coming to that.
I'm pretty sure I will be part of the Netflix special. It's fine. Anyway, speaking of Netflix.
Yeah, speaking of Netflix, they released this new documentary. It's called Fit for TV.
Yes.
An excellent title. All about the Biggest Loser franchise.
Yeah.
Did you watch Biggest Loser when it was on?
So I kind of watched it on and off. It was more of one of those running in the background while doing something else kind of shows. Just it was on it was in there was the reality TV set that a bunch of reality TV shows happen at the same time frames.
Right.
So it was on because of that. I was probably like Survivor and then into The Biggest Loser or something like that.
Right, or something like that. I never watched. Like Survivor would have been on CBS. This was on NBC. ABC had The Amazing Race. Yeah. Why I remember that, I don't know. I've never watched any of those shows. I
am a reality TV junkie. I do love watching stupid reality TV.
Well, that's actually great then that you are a contributing member of this podcast, because I think maybe that brings us to our first topic of conversation is weight loss as reality television and combining those two things.
Yeah, I mean, so that is the problem is I think like the concept of it can come from a good place, but when you make it into entertainment, it becomes the entertainment value is the problem.
Right.
And when we talk more in depth about the documentary, we'll talk a little bit more about what was going on behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. But yeah. I think that overall, I think that's the problem is that it's entertainment TV. You're trying to make entertainment and not really looking at the health of other people.
Of course. So for those of you who don't know, The Biggest Loser is a TV show, ran for 12 seasons, I believe it said in the documentary.
I think it was 14.
14 seasons, the other 12 on NBC in the early aughts into the mid aughts. And it focused on people losing weight. And so they called it The Biggest Loser as a shock value kind of title. People go in, and people who signed up for the show were obese, overweight, and wanted to lose weight.
Yes.
And so they were put on they were given personal trainers who became very big celebrities in their own right. And I think they were given some eating plans and things like that. But then it was competition based. So every week they weighed in, and whoever lost the most amount of weight in terms of percentage based weight won the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of the synopsis.
Was it percentage weight? I don't think it was percentage.
I think it was.
I was it? Because I don't. Wasn't it like if they were like 290 pounds and then they were like 280, that was a negative 10 pounds, and that's how.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was just straight poundage.
I thought, yeah, I didn't watch it, so you know better than me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just straight poundage.
That becomes unfair if somebody's only 200 pounds versus 400 pounds, because a 400 pound person's going to lose a lot more in the early stages. But
part of the entertainment value.
Okay, well, good enough.
I mean, we'll talk more about it because there's some crazy stuff that happened in it. But
keep talking. Let's pull it out. Let's pull the thread.
I mean, it's there as the seasons went on, and it talks about it in the documentary. As the seasons went on, the people were realizing that it was about the losing the weight. So people would gain more weight when they got accepted into the show to lose more weight during the show.
Have you ever done that? I have.
I wait to lose weight? No, I've never.
Oh, no. I'm like, I'm starting this plan on Tuesday and it's Friday. So I've like gung ho eaten a whole bunch so that my first weigh in is heavy.
Oh, no.
That's psychologically something that I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. I guess I've never really done like weigh in things.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've definitely done that. Not to the same extreme because I've never been on TV. Here's the question. If The Biggest Loser Canada were to come around, would you sign up? Would you audition?
No, I'm not. I'm not into getting punished for entertainment value and to lose weight. I don't want someone yelling at me to lose weight.
No, but let's say it's the first season. You didn't know that was it about.
I mean, if it was the first season and depending on the way they marketed the first season to people to sign up, I probably would have signed up. The way the first season was marketed and the way it actually turned out were two different things.
Oh, 100%. Right? And actually, fun sidebar, as I was watching this documentary, and there's a lot of horrendous things that happen in the documentary. There's people crying. There were lawsuits. There's somebody almost died.
Yes.
Which is insane. And well, for context, I guess one of the seasons they made everybody run a mile. And if you couldn't finish the mile running, you didn't get on the show. And this woman was so gung-ho to finish that she was just giving her the whole time. And within sight line of the finish line, she collapsed and she and literally crawled across the finish line and then had to be taken away by a helicopter.
Yeah. And then it turned out she had some other disease that caused her to do that. Do the collapse, and she stayed in the show and they were really mean to her afterwards.
Well, my sister said she actually watched that season. I was talking to her on the phone and she said that she was a villain in the show.
Yes, they played her as a villain.
So they played her as a villain, which is, part of me is like, if you sign up for a reality television show, even if you had never seen this one, reality television is reality television. There are storylines that are contrived in the editing process.
Oh, sure.
And you kind of sign up for it in some ways.
Yes and no. There's sign up and for certain things, and your doctors are telling you are going to die if you do certain things. Okay. Then I can't do it, and then them playing it as if she's just not doing it.
She's just lazy.
Yeah,
just didn't power through it.
That is the problem with the
absolutely that was an atrocity. Right. And this is through the lens of a documentary too. So there's obviously some, I don't know.
There's and we'll talk. I think we're going to talk more about the documentary later, but obviously documentaries are biased in their way, and there's no way a documentary can't be biased. Whoever decided what the editing looks like, whatever is going to make it play out a certain way.
I mean, yes, there are ways documentaries can't be biased if they're done by journalists and they're done in a way that is presenting both sides of a story.
I would say that journalists still, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with people being biased. Journalists have bias in themselves as well.
But that doesn't mean they can't present information unbiased.
But the way you present the information still can come out in a biased manner. You may not mean for it to.
In this case, it obviously did, but
yeah.
We'll
argue with that.
We can park at that, but I do. Yeah, I just.
I know you as a journalist don't feel that you can bias, but I feel like all journalists have biases.
I don't know why you needed to have the last thought there.
I did.
But anyway, we'll carry on.
Forward. But yeah, no, I think when it comes to like that kind of thing, it's when someone is in the documentary, they talk about her like that she would have died if she had have done certain things, and they were trying to egg her on to continue to do those things, which is
it's cruel. Actually,
yeah.
it was cruel the way it was presented, and I the women's like jumping on Jillian Michaels or whatever, jumping on people's backs as they're working out and screaming at them like, "What are you doing, lady?" You're terrifying.
But I going back to like the entertainment value of it all, I think that is where the problem came from, where the goal was not necessarily to make these people healthy and be like healthier people. It was to provide entertainment.
Yes, and they attached a cash value to winning.
Yes, and attaching, yeah, that's a problem.
Like I actually think that show would have still been successful if it were done with no cash prize.
I think maybe. I think it would have been harder to get some contestants.
I don't think so. I think there's enough people who are even for the fact of being put up, and like I think about myself, if there is an opportunity to be put up for 6-8 weeks, whatever it is, and given full reign to work out, food, all this stuff, all of it's not real life, and and we can talk about the sustainability of something like this too, which it clearly isn't. But if somebody were offered to afford me that opportunity, because that in and of itself would be enough of a motivation, I'd get if I were able to get the time off work and do that, and someone were to fully pay for that and create this opportunity for me, and sure, it's on TV, fine, that becomes part of it. And maybe there's a nominal payment for being on TV, as most of these shows, most people do get paid for being on these shows. I don't need a big cash payout at the end. I
guess, and not contestants that I guess but it's the trainers. I don't think those trainers would have been in. I don't think they could have gotten trainers to do the things they are in there
for the TV exposure. I think they could. Absolutely could. Not people want to be famous.
Yeah, I don't know. I think now maybe. I think maybe in that time frame. Maybe I guess it's hard to say. I have a feeling that the cash prize is what gave it the entertainment value. I
also think it's what caused a lot more of the problems.
It also caused problems, right? That's
because there is the allegation that Jillian Michaels gave the allegation that trainers, I shouldn't use names, were giving out caffeine pills.
We can use names. They use names in the documentary.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
Why can't we use the names?
I don't know. Feels uncomfortable.
We don't know these people.
Fair enough. We're giving out caffeine pills, even though the doctor guy said no coffee, no caffeine, nothing as part of it because people are abusing it.
Right.
And that propensity, if you're like by a certain date or you're going to get kicked off,
it feeds into that push of harder and harder.
Yeah. And then there's the whole ridiculous thing when they're trying to like make fun of fat people, which is just like atrocious. Like,
right.
Let's pick food up with your mouth and build something and all this bullshit. Like, oh my God.
So you never watched Biggest Loser before.
No.
So prior to going into the documentary, what was your understanding of The Biggest Loser?
I had a good idea of the concept of the show. Like my sister watched it and I mean, I'm not a Luddite. I have the internet and television. So I was aware of it. Like I'd see commercials for it and stuff like that and posts on the internet. I knew who the coaches were because it was so part of our the zeitgeist that I understood that, Jillian Michaels and Bob, whatever his name was, would scream at people to make them work harder. And even in the moment as an overweight person, I was like, I want no part of this. I want to support this in no way. I feel like this is an atrocious thing. And that was further confirmed by the documentary.
Sure. Like I said, I watched it on and off again as just like background noise. It was one of those things that happened to be on. But I never really watched it. Like I know some people that like religiously watch it, but I was never, I like reality TV shows and there are some that I love watching, but it was not one of the ones that I truly.
It did have some positive benefits for some people though. There's the sister duo that was featured in the documentary and they made quite a career as speakers, and they had an interesting story themselves. Like one had always battled weight and wanted to be an opera singer and was told she needed to be a size 8 by the time she got hired by this big opera company. In the meantime, her sister was super athletic and stayed thin her whole life and then was injured and ended up gaining a bunch of weight. And in the end, they ended up both being heavier set ladies. and went on this show, lost a bunch of weight, and both became motivational speakers and really changed lives and changed their own lives and are incredible humans. And maybe they would have found another way to be incredible, or they're already incredible humans, obviously. But the show propelled them, and they said it was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely parts of it that people took away as great, and I think you can say that about anything. It's people go through terrible things and come out the other end saying, "Oh, it was a terrible experience, but it made me a better person," kind of thing.
100%. Every bad thing that's ever happened to me, I say that about.
Right? So, like, it definitely for some people may have been a good experience, but I know that there was. It seemed like for the majority of people, at least, it seems like it was not a great experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're chasing that fame or whatever the reasoning for auditioning for any of those shows, whether it's a talent show or a competition show or whatever, or Big Brother or something like that. Well, there's a part of you that has an ego and wants to chase the camera.
Yep.
When you compound that with weight loss, especially lifelong weight loss or weight issues where people have been chasing that rainbow, for lack of a better term, up and down yo-yoing their whole lives, something like this is like, I'll have tried everything else. Why not try this too? Is probably another mentality. Like, and you see that in other diets as well. But somebody, especially at that time where so much of television was based on the advertisements that you're going to get alongside of it, somebody's making a lot of money off of this show and at your expense.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But you signed up for it.
True. I think we go into a part 2 and we talk a little bit more about the documentary. What do you think?
Well, I think we can continue to talk about it. We still have another 10 minutes or so, do we not?
Okay, well, fine. We can keep going with this part. I mean, the biggest part here is like for entertainment value, where's the line, right? Where do the producers and the executives and the trainers, where does the responsibility lie on them to make sure that people are still maintaining a healthy and not motivating that health?
Well, it depends on what the legal documents say, right? Everybody signed a contract. And I mean, that's a little bit callous on my perspective. And, there's the account of the woman who was like, I asked for a lawyer, but they said there were 20 more people waiting. So I just signed it, and fair. But that's the nature, especially at the time of the world at the time. Like, people were signing up for these shows for a big payout or for some level of exposure, and everybody was watching.
Yeah, but contracts don't neglect. There's still, even if you sign a contract, you still have a responsibility. There's legal responsibilities, and where do you draw that legal responsibility is the question.
Well, yeah, the contract is where that literally is the legal responsibility document. You know what I mean?
No, but a contract you can sign a contract, and the law can still say, yeah, even though you signed this contract, you went beyond that. You know what I mean? A contract is supposed to protect you. You're supposed to stop you from feeling like you can sue this person. Doesn't mean you can't sue them.
Right. And there were a couple of lawsuits that
they settled out of court.
That they settled out of court. So
which tells me that they probably went beyond what.
I don't know. Maybe. Or they were threatened and they dropped the lawsuit. Who's to say?
Well, we'll never know, because when it gets settled out of court, it
exactly
just disappears.
And you know what? To me, if I signed up for a show like that, even if it was a horrific experience, you always have free will.
But when you sign up for a show like that, you expect people to, at bare minimum, take your health into consideration.
Why? You're out for yourself.
Yes, but they're legally responsible to make sure that they don't potentially kill me.
No, I guess so, Isaiah. Yes, ideally. So your employer has rules that they need to follow, the laws of the land, which are, have workplace safety kind of situations where you shouldn't be pushing people to the point of whatever. And I think some of that was probably drummed up for television. In the case of the woman who nearly died, she made the conscious decision to stay on that show. She could have gone home. They would have been fully within her rights to go home after that near death experience, but that was her choice to stay. And that was her, do you know what I mean? You have to be responsible for your own well-being at some point too.
But there is take that woman aside. That's a whole other piece of the puzzle. The trainers, I feel, did not take any responsibility for the actual health of those people.
I think they felt like they were improving those people's lives, whether they're right or wrong. I think they felt like when you listen to the interview with Bob, whatever his name is, I think he felt like he genuinely was helping a lot of those people. And I think a lot of those people feel like they were helped in some cases. Were producers pushing them to a point of puking? And is that okay? No, that's not all right. I don't think that's okay. But I do think there is free will and a bit of your own personal discretion on that. You can't let other people take care of it. You have to take care of yourself.
Yes, but at the same time, I think that the producers and things have a liability to ensure the health and safety of the people, the contestants.
And for the most part, they did. Arguably,
I would argue against
they all came. Nobody died on the show.
No,
nobody died on the show. Everybody came out one way or another. There's some sketchy things that happened, and that's when the show lost popularity. And maybe this is a place to park it.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back in part 2.
Oh, see you next week.
We'll see you next week. But before we do, where can people find something at?
You can find us at Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook and Instagram and all those places.
And you can find me at Maritime Bruce on the social medias. Of course, we do have the Buy Me a Coffee still going if you wish to help donate to us. And of course, if you are listening on wherever you listen to your podcast, we can like, share, subscribe over there, or hop on over to YouTube, see our beautiful faces on YouTube. And if you're already on YouTube, if you can like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff over here, that'd be much appreciated. But until next week, bye.